Welcome to Specific Love. Today I'm going to show you how to put together this simple to build nail and screw holder that fits right on your wall. You can store your nails and screws for easy access. Whenever I am building a project, I usually have to sort through my nail and screw containers to find the right ones, but not anymore. I first measured and cut down some 1x4 pine lumber into two 18.5 inch pieces and four 10 5/8 inch pieces. These will be the main frame supports. I then marked the locations on the insides of each of the 10 5/8 inch vertical pieces to cut the grooves for the shelves. I then ran each of them over my table saw using the miter gauge. Each of the cuts is only 1/4 inch deep, which will give the shelf a good footing on each side, but not weaken the vertical supports. I then lined up two of the boards along the cuts, and my wife helped me hold them together while I wrapped tape around them. I next took the pair over to the drill press and clamped them in place over a secondary board to help prevent the back of the wood from cracking or splitting. I then used a 1-inch Forstner bit to drill a hole in the middle of each groove at the joining place of both boards. This process will allow each board to have a half circle on the front of each. Now to go inside each of these little guides that I've already cut, we're going to try and use some of this scrap wood I already had. These are just a little over 15 inches, almost 16 inches long, which will be the perfect width for these boxes. And they're kind of I believe it's an oak veneer over like a cork insert, which you don't have to use this, but I just had this as scrap. But this is also not very strong, so whatever you use, it doesn't have to be super heavy duty because these boxes only weigh about a pound a piece. So I mean, you could use the wood inserts, you could maybe even use like a plastic insert if you have something similar. But I just had these, they're about the perfect size, so I can get 3 out of each one, so we're going to use these. To maximize the efficiency of the cuts, I taped the scrap together, measured out the distance, and then used a chop saw to do it quickly. I then did a quick test fit for the shelves and the boxes fit perfectly. The top and bottom boards looked awesome as well. To attach the outside vertical boards to the top and bottom, I used a corner clamp to hold them in place while I tapped each hole and added some 2-inch screws. After securing all 4 sides, I inserted each of the shelves into their slots, and then lightly clamped the inner shelf frame into place. This allowed me to wedge each of the shelves without needing glue or screws. I then tapped holes and added screws in each of the inner shelf supports. Now for the backing, I decided to use some scrap 1/4 inch plywood that I rough cut with a circular saw, but then made the final cuts on the table saw. This plywood was not the prettiest version, but I plan to use a dark stain so it will work fine. I did however sand both sides to remove most of the rough edges and splinters. I then clamped the plywood to the back of the frame, tapped 8 holes into the vertical supports, and added 2-inch screws for strength. And the result was a very heavy duty structure. Now to hang this on my wall, I decided to utilize the French Cleat system. So I cut down a corresponding hanger for the back of the holder. I clamped it in place and added 4 screws, making sure they went into each of the vertical supports for strength. A quick test fit showed everything fit well and the boxes were easy to insert and remove. To match the other hanging racks, I chose a traditional cherry for the stain, which made this holder look even better. And after it dried, I gave all the screw and nail boxes a new home. Also, the center section was left open to house my screw bits and drill bits for easy access. Now if you enjoyed this project, make sure you click the like button and tell us what you think about in the comments. I also have some other videos right over here that go along with this build, so make sure you check those out. Have fun building!